My question is, in the times of Hanukkah, the symbol of the Greeks against the Maccabees makes you think and contemplate about different approaches to life. And we have the story from back then that the Greeks had a certain worldview, and against them the Jews, the Maccabees, with a different worldview, and there was a war between these views, between the views. But the physical war was between the Maccabees and the Hellenists within the people of Israel. Okay, what I want to talk about is specifically the worldview. So we had two counter worldviews, the Greek versus the Jewish approach. And today, when I look at this force called ISIS, it's a rising force that's bringing a worldview with it and is gaining more and more fans in the Western world. Now, the Western world, before ISIS came, was a relatively rational world. This is also rational. ISIS are very rational. What's rational about it? That in addition to this world, you acquire also the next world. It's delusional. No. And previously, didn't the Western world ascribe themselves to godliness? It didn't think that there is a God. Sure they did. Only a bit differently than today. And also, it wasn't that different. That there's one God, only there his representative was Jesus, and here it's Muhammad. What's the difference? Most of the Europeans, at least from the younger generation, the people I know, aren't really religious. Maybe they respect their tradition and holidays, but it doesn't have an impact on their day-to-day life. They remain egoists just like before, and therefore there's no big difference between the Christian worldview or a person that almost left Christianity altogether and doesn't care about anything, or a person that goes into Islam. On the contrary, he who converts to Islam, he acquires a good, tranquil life and the next world. And the main thing is the influence of the environment that influences him and gives him a sense of confidence and security. Do you remember what Matityahu said? Whoever is for Hashem, the Creator, come to me. Yes, it's an ISIS call. If to translate it, it's the same as Allahu Akbar. True? So, in this triangle of these three worldviews, the Jewish Maccabee view, the Greek rational view, and the modern ISIS view, the ISIS view is closer to the view of the Hashmonaim from back then, meaning it's religious fanaticism. No, there's a simple difference. The Maccabees, they fought for the people of Israel to remain in the Jewish religion. They didn't care about the Greeks. They fought the Hellenists. Yeah, but religious fanaticism, it's fanaticism. Doesn't matter what they fight for. No, there's a big difference. In Judaism, I don't care that if someplace there are Muslims or Christians. I'm not a part of them. It doesn't matter. They could be my neighbors, but I'm not a part of them. They're not a part of me. I'm not coming to impose Judaism upon them. There's no such thing in Judaism. Whereas in Christianity, it used to be and past, and in Islam, it's happening right now. Judaism, it says, don't touch anyone. If you're a Jew, then yes, try and make him stronger. But if you're not a Jew, tell them, what do you need it for? What do you need these problems? Keep on as you are. How is the Maccabee approach relevant to these times? Today? Yes, if at all. Maybe it's irrelevant. Very relevant. It's very modern because our world is at a dead end. We're in a state where we don't know what are we living for? Islam, even though that it's covering the world over, and we'll see it won't hold for long, because specifically as a result of this war that they're waging now against the Christians, I'm saying Christians, but let's call it religious wars, by that, it will degenerate very quickly. and we will witness, well, maybe I won't witness it. It'll happen in so and so many years where I won't have the opportunity to see it, but for sure it will happen that specifically as a result of going into Europe, they will lose their force. And we saw these things in the past. Suppose the Romans, who conquered all of Europe afterwards, instead of being the masters of Europe, the Europeans became their masters. And that's how it always was. That you come to some place and you conquer, and you're there as the manager, as the commander. Afterwards, it changes, and the locals, they begin to take over you. This pertaining radical Islam, you predict it will degenerate. It's not exactly degeneration. According to the Kabbalistic sources, Islam, together with Christianity, will turn against Israel. And we're already starting to feel the signs of this twist against us, that they're turning against us. How? Even though that Islam is conquering Europe, Europe isn't speaking against it, but is speaking against Israel. And therefore Islam, by conquering Europe, will turn all of Europe, and also it itself will turn against Israel, and then they will turn against us. Okay, now let's talk about the Maccabee approach. Is it relevant for today? Of course. What does it mean? It says that we have to develop a mutual bestowal and connect between us and destroy and eradicate the Greeks between us, meaning all those differences between us, the distance between us, the ego between us. We have to completely eradicate it. To eradicate is the ISIS approach. No, to eradicate these inner qualities within us, which are completely egoistic, where I think about myself instead of thinking of you, to eradicate that, to eradicate the inner approach. Yes, the inner approach where I think only about myself, because the people of Israel were established by Abraham based on connection, and therefore it can exist only in connection. And this is what's ahead of us. Either we connect between us to become as one man and one heart, all of Israel being friends, in mutual guarantee, in friendship, even reaching the level of love thy neighbor as thyself. And then between us we will discover love the Creator, thy Lord, meaning that we will discover the upper force that exists in nature, and we will see the world limitless, and then we will cover all these religions that were born out of Judaism in the past as a result of Judaism falling from its spiritual level into the corporeal abyss, one might say, where later on Christianity and then Islam came out of Judaism, specifically because Judaism fell and lost its spiritual force. Then by returning to our spiritual root, by that we will actually show the whole world that the right future is in connection between all people, and then we connect to the one upper force for everyone.